Good morning, Robert Scribbler filming for the Saturday, August the 19th session of the OBX wave report from a remote location in the mountains, up visiting family. So no beach video for you guys. You get to see me in my host TV hat, great hat to keep the sun off and get out in the waves with, very secure once you use your chin strappy, and really good for just preventing the sunburn, which can really beat you down during the summer months. So shout out to host Stevie for the great surf gear. I am getting ready for the East Coast Surfing Championships down in Virginia Beach. Hope to see you guys there. I'm really excited to get out in the water with some of my good friends. Do a little bit of competition, but mostly just for having fun in the waves. That's what it's all about. It's about celebrating our love of the ocean and our love of the combined art and sport that is surfing, right? I guess you could call it a combined art, sport, and love of nature. At least that's the way it works for me, and hopefully for the rest of you guys. All right, so getting down to some of the conditions on the US East Coast, we're going to expand our scope since we are going to be going north to Virginia Beach. And we're also going to expand our scope down to Frisco as well for providing wave data, because we are starting to get into wave season. And what is wave season? Wave season is the stormiest period in the North Atlantic Ocean, and it stretches from now at the peak of hurricane season in late October all the way through to midwinter. So August, I would say, through at least February, and that is the stormiest period for the North Atlantic Ocean. We start off with the hurricanes and the tropical storms and all that jazz, and then we go over to the nor'easters, which can get very strong. Actually, probably all the way in through March. So we have a very long wave season for the North Atlantic Ocean. This is my estimation of wave season. I don't know if there's like an official scientific estimate of wave season, but if you're a surfer, you know that the waves are really gnarly from now all the way through March. So we're getting into wave season, and this is going to be fun. We're going to have, looks like a lot of storms this year. Hopefully none of them will impact the coastline and cause harm. We just want them to stay out there in the shipping lanes and give us some good waves. All right, so let's get down to the local wave data for select locations up and down the Outer Banks. And as I said before, we are going to extend northward to Virginia Beach because we're going north to Virginia Beach to participate in the East Coast Surfing Championship. So right now at Virginia Beach, waves in the 2-foot range with slightly choppy conditions, a southeast swell at 1.8 feet, and that is an 8-second swell. Winds out of the north-northeast at 14 miles per hour. Air temperatures in the range of the middle to upper 70s. Ocean water temperature 77 degrees down there at Virginia Beach. Heading on down south to Nags Head, we've got 2 to 3 foot waves, semi-choppy conditions. Southeast swell at 2.3 foot and 8 seconds. Air temperatures in the range of about 78 degrees. Ocean water temperatures a little cooler there in the Nags Head region with 74-degree ocean water temperatures, and northeast winds at 15 miles per hour. There's northeast winds coming in. They bring in the chop. In Nags Head, they'll probably push in some jellies from the Gulf Stream, so you might want to wear your long sleeve rash guards and possibly even some leggings if you want to avoid the stings. Sometimes I would go out with my booties to help avoid the stings on the feet. The jellies, at least to me, aren't too bad this year as far as stings go, but it's, once you get about 12 or 13 or 15 stings, it's pretty irritating. So hopefully the jellies aren't too bad down there, but with those northeast winds blowing in the Gulf Stream, I bet the jellies are getting pretty bad down there in Nags Head. Okay, so down in Rodanthe right now, 2-foot waves, 2-foot and higher waves, choppy conditions. Southeast swell at 2.4 foot in 8 seconds. North-northeast winds at 17 miles per hour, pretty brisk there. 80-degree Fahrenheit air temperatures 80-degree Fahrenheit ocean water temperatures. And at Buxton, and that's not the last one, we're going to go down to Frisco for a little bit. Buxton right now, 2-foot waves, choppy conditions, southeast swell at 2.5 feet and 8 seconds. North-northeast winds at 15 miles per hour, 81-degree Fahrenheit ocean water temperatures, and 81-degree Fahrenheit air temperatures as we take a little sip of coffee. All right, and last of all, at Frisco, good to be caffeinated if you're going to get out in the water. I know caffeine's not necessarily the best for you, but you want to have that kick. So at least get your B vitamins and get your good healthy foods to keep your energy up. And you know, it's always, I mean, surfing will keep you in good shape, but I do a lot of stretches, a lot of you know, like pop squats and modified burpees for my, you know, practice my pop-ups and things like that. Help to keep my energy levels high, help to keep the athleticism high. All right, so heading on down to Frisco. 2-foot plus waves and semi-clean conditions. We're not going to do a complete report for Frisco right now, but we're just adding Frisco in for now. Okay, so I did mention wave season, and the opening salvo for wave season comes from the Atlantic hurricane season, which is really starting to heat up according to our friends, the good scientists over at the National Hurricane Center. Right now, we've got four tropical disturbances out there in the Atlantic Ocean. We're going to do a brief summary of them all for you guys. I recommend you check out the National Hurricane Center if you want to keep updated on all the things that are happening in the tropics. Okay, right now we've got a tropical disturbance in the east central tropical Atlantic. It's getting pretty far off Africa and heading toward the central tropical Atlantic this time. It's a very large area of like swirling clouds, not yet organized into a tropical system, but on the satellite picture to my amateur meteorological observer's eyes, looks pretty good. And according to the National Hurricane Center, has a 70% chance of developing into a tropical cyclone over the next 24 hours. So that's one to watch. We will see if it develops into a storm, but the likelihood is getting pretty high. The next one, so we've got this one here, so imagine Africa here, and we've got one over here just heading off Africa and heading into the central tropical Atlantic. Then about another 400 or 500 miles over, estimated, we've got another tropical disturbance in the central tropical Atlantic, and that one is a little bit more disorganized, just has a 30% chance of developing over the next 7 days. And then further to the west, just east of the Windward Islands, in that little, you know, chain that, you know, juts out from the Caribbean, it kind of opens the gateway to the Caribbean Ocean. There is a third tropical disturbance, and that bad boy's got a 40% chance of developing over the next 7 days. And then heading into the Caribbean and the Atlantic Ocean off the eastern seaboard, we have yet another tropical disturbance number 4. This one in the Bahamas. And that one has a 50% chance of developing into a tropical cyclone over the next 7 days. That one right now is heading west, so likely to get into the Gulf of Mexico. If it does develop, interests in the Gulf of Mexico will need to keep their eyes peeled because the Gulf is super, super, super hot. And so all that hot water could provide major fuel for any storm system that does develop in the Gulf of Mexico. Last of all, we've got another area of interest, at least for me, off the U.S. eastern seaboard. There is a front that has been lingering off the U.S. East Coast. According to the National Hurricane Center, no signs of tropical development in that system as of yet. But stalled fronts off the U.S. East Coast can gain energy from the Gulf Stream and tropical characteristics. So as a surfer and amateur meteorological observer, I like to keep my eye on those kinds of things. Getting a little scratchy. All right, so last of all, we're going to talk a little bit about climate. I guess second to last, because I'm also going to do my appeal for you guys at the end. But second to last, we are going to talk about Category 4. We're going to talk a little bit about climate, and weather. It's kind of a climate weather mashup. We're going to talk about Category 4 Hurricane Hilary, which very strong Category 4 storm in the eastern Pacific, now west of Mexico, south of Baja, California. Heading off into the north and west, expected to recurve toward Baja and California and potentially strike California as a tropical storm, which would be unprecedented weather event. What's enabling this is much warmer than normal waters in the eastern Pacific Ocean. There is the Humboldt Current that comes down there to the west of California, so there is a lot of cool water there off California, which typically wards off tropical systems, and that will be the case with Hilary. If Hilary moves through those waters, Hilary will lose a lot of steam heading over those cold waters, but nonetheless, waters are warmer than normal, providing Hilary a platform from which Hilary can leap to California, right? And so right now, according to the National Hurricane Center, we have risks of major flooding for both California and large parts of the U.S. Southwest should Hilary follow the projected path determined by the forecasters. So once again, climate change impacts happening in our world, amplification of storm systems and expansion of the range of tropical cyclones, the potential range of tropical cyclones is a climate fingerprint. And those climate fingerprints, those changes to our weather and climate and storm intensity, and as we recently saw tragically in Lahaina with the fires, all of those are driven by fossil fuel burning, which I'm going to segue to my public service, attempting to be helpful to the public and all of us, an exhortation to everyone to please, please, please do everything you can to help speed the transition to clean energy. And we can do it by lifting our voices, by using our votes, by supporting the youth climate activists as we do on every Friday for the Fridays for Future movement, and to urge our politicians to do the right thing, to speak out, to be assertive, and democratically provide a force for the rapid transition to clean energy being wind, water, solar, electric vehicles, electrification, and all the efficiency things that are going to enable that clean energy transition. Recently, a lawsuit in Montana found that it was unconstitutional for Montana to continue to provide funding for fossil fuels because the clean energy transition is viable. And actions like that, if we support them, if we lift them up, if we encourage them, and if they multiply, we're going to get that multiplication of sustainability impact, which scientists like Dr. Michael Mann state can stop the climate crisis, can halt warming, and can result in a much better future. So the more rapidly we do that, the better off we're all going to be, and we won't suffer as many events like the Lahaina fire or the terrible increases in storm intensity that have so recently impacted so many of us. All right, so thank you for joining me for this session of the OBX Wave Report. Heading off to the East Coast Surfing Championships on Monday, going to be surfing on Tuesday with a Legends group, age 50 to 59. There's only 4 people in my heat. I know one of them's won the ECSC before, but I'm looking to just have some fun with you guys, get in the water with all of my surfer pals, and just celebrate the art and the sport and the love of nature that is surfing with everyone down there at the ECSC. Take care, guys. Best wishes to you all. Hope you guys get in the water today and shred it up. Ride a few waves for me. Enjoy it. Get a few great ones. Bombs, drops, cutbacks. I don't know. Somebody get a barrel. Do something fun, guys. We'll be back with you shortly.